Hello and good morning to everybody.
Good morning.
Yeah, today is actually day 362 of our
Yeah.
social media experiment that we started this September 20th of 2024. When I decided one day, I took a picture of a photograph of a sunrise and I shared it on social media and got a really interesting response around the word gratitude. And I thought to myself at that time, I felt like I was living a grateful life, but I think I understood gratitude to be please and thank you.
Right.
And that's what most
That's
people
what most
assume
people think,
gratitude
yeah.
is. And so I'm like, okay, there's something in this.
Yeah.
Like if people are focusing on gratitude and it's bringing goodness, I need to try this and see what would happen.
Take it to the next level.
Yeah, what I didn't expect to happen was for me to discover the most amazing technique to rewire your brain.
Yeah.
That is not what I expected.
Right.
Because what we've created is kind of like the roto-rooter of transformation.
That is true. Yes.
Because there are lots of people that do transformation and will teach you how to find your true authentic self,
right,
and peel away the self-limiting beliefs that haunt all of us. But it's
with this, I think we just peel back the layers of the onion and we get to the root of
because
who
we
really
teach you
are.
how to heal from the inside. You're going to heal
Yes.
yourself.
Yeah.
Okay. And you may want to work with a therapist or a psychologist. That's up to
That's
you.
great if you
Absolutely.
choose to.
And I support that community and have used every single one of them.
Yeah.
That being said, the technique that we have would work great and parallel with working with a professional counselor.
Yeah. Yeah. I
True,
would agree.
right?
Yeah.
I mean, we're a companion to that healing.
We are.
I know you could do it.
Yeah.
You did it.
Yeah.
I did it.
Yeah.
And we completely healed
Yeah.
all the mental
demons,
challenges, demons, and frankly,
and
disorders
yeah.
that I had and you had as well. All right. So that's what we started. And that, our intention was really from, I started this for me.
Yeah.
And then you showed up the second day.
Well,
and we just kind of kept going with it.
You're like, if anyone wants to come down to the park,
yeah,
just show
I'm gonna
up
be here every day.
I'm like, I'm gonna go support my brother.
Watching the sunrise.
And I've been here ever since.
Yeah. And so that's what's been, as we're coming up upon the I'm not going to say our final podcast because we're not going to stop. We're just not going to do it every day.
Our commitment to
the anniversary of our commitment and keeping that commitment. Not many people can make a commitment to getting up every morning and watching the sunrise.
Whether we're here
and we
or
have not missed a day.
We always catch the sunrise.
I have not missed a day. I haven't missed a sunrise, and I haven't missed celebrating and being grateful for the day that I was given.
Yeah. Because it's a gift to wake up every morning.
It absolutely is. So here's the thing. If your soul was an equation, okay, what happens when negativity piles up on one side? Can you ever achieve balance without letting go of what weighs you down? That's the question, right? So welcome to this episode of iplGRATITUDE365, the podcast where we break down life's most complicated challenges using a simple equation, the equation of life and abundant happiness. We also call it ELAH, that's for short. So I'm your host, Thayne Martin, and I'm here with my brother Logan Hall, affectionately known as Hard Drive. We call you Hard Drive because of that incredible memory that you have, that savant-like gift that you got from your life experience.
My superpower.
Yeah, your superpower is that memory of yours and your ability to recall things instantly. That's what's nuts, right? So, I know when we used to work together on the food truck, I started calling you Hard Drive because in many times when my memory fails, because I struggle with memory, you always can help kind of get me back on track. Yeah, and on the truck before I really was struggling back then, I couldn't stay focused for nothing.
We're a lot like the yin yang twins.
In many ways,
we kind of balance each other out. And it's all about balance.
It is all about balance. That's exactly. Everything in life is about balance. It's all about balance. Okay, so we're going to be talking today about subtraction. And specifically, the title is Subtraction, Letting Go of the Crap We Don't Need. And that is the truth. And of all the principles that we have with Equation of Life and Abundant Happiness, which is taking mathematical principles and applying them to human emotion and the life experience. And that's what the Equation of Life and Abundant Happiness is. Yesterday, we talked about addition, which is adding the things in our lives that bring forth goodness and joy. And sometimes when we're looking at our lives, and most importantly, I'm just going to call it our level of happiness, our level of flow, okay, where everything's just kind of working. Addition is things that we add, but sometimes in life, simply adding things isn't going to solve the problem, and it's not going to make you balance.
Exactly. It's kind of like a little bit of feng shui for your life.
It is because and remember, there's always a cause and effect. So if something goes up, something goes down, something goes down, something goes up. So when you're making a decision and you're learning to balance, you have to kind of think that way. So as I'm looking at this problem, I'm struggling with time management.
Yeah.
I'm struggling with time management. So what could you do to be more effective in managing your time? Well, I think most people would naturally go to subtraction. I need to let go of some things.
Right.
Okay, but is that true? Maybe what you need to do, like, and I'll use me as an example, when you're a one-man show doing the entire podcast, everything, you don't get a lot done. Right. And it's challenging. And so for me, I could take things out of my schedule to give me more time, or I could add something in the way of a person or a company to offload something.
Yeah.
Take this and do this for me. I'll pay you because my time is worth more here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like the bracelets that we ordered, right? They came and they're beautiful, but there's something wrong with them. And it was half their fault and half my fault. And so I'm redoing them, and I'm actually going to make it better, which I love how that works, right? Because the ones I have are good, but the ones that I have are going to be better because it will have meaning to anybody.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So the bracelet that I have right now says "Dare to be second."
Yep.
But I'm going to add the new one. It's going to have the word big letters, gratitude. Okay. Then it's going to say "Dare to be second."
Nice.
You see? So that way,
you're always reminded.
Yeah.
You can look down and remind yourself.
Yeah. And not only that, but I can sell them on Etsy.
Oh, there you go.
Okay. Because if you search for something gratitude, you're going to find this bracelet and the phrase "Dare to be second," and they're on there. You really want to know what this phrase means and apply it in your life? Go to ispurelove.com. Learn there, right? And then they would be able to download the course or the book or the things that I'm currently working on. All right. So the thing with subtraction is that it's definitely the hardest thing for us, right? I mean, we've all been told to add more to our lives, more success, more possessions, more followers, more achievements. But what if happiness doesn't come from addition at all? It's actually from subtraction, from letting something go, like grudges, toxic habits, the old stories, and the false weights we keep carrying. So that's why we're talking about subtraction today, because in order to achieve abundant happiness, we have to arrive at what I call net neutral.
Right. Yeah.
And that is the position where life puts you in flow, where you are able to good morning. You're able to quickly increase or quickly decrease, because balance happens in the present moment, and we do everything in the here and now.
Yep.
One of the things you learn when you take the equation Life and Abundant Happiness and the actual course is, I'm going to train you to be present. I'm going to train you to be more aware. And in that awareness, there's all kinds of things that are going to start showing up for you in your life. And that's what's amazing. We talked a little bit
about that yesterday with glimmers, seeing the glimmers in your life.
Okay, so in today's show, we're going to talk about what subtraction means in the equation Life and Abundant Happiness, why negativity weighs down heavier than positivity, which I think is really interesting, the science of letting go and the brain's negativity bias, stories and examples of subtraction in action, some practical exercises that all of us can do today immediately to release negativity, and then lastly, understanding that the most important thing that you need to have to maintain happiness is an anchor in your balance. That anchor is the word gratitude. It's gratitude. Yep. All right. So by definition, subtraction in the equation of life and abundant happiness is the conscious practice of letting go of negativity, resentment, toxic relationships, self-limiting beliefs, self-criticism, self-talk, so that your soul can rest at neutral balance. So, subtraction is not about losing. It's about releasing what does not belong to your soul so that balance can breathe again.
Yeah.
That's the truth. So, like, here's an example. Imagine a couple where one partner constantly brings up a past mistake. Like, that happens a lot in therapy.
That does.
My daughter, Chanel, she's a marriage and family counselor. And that's a common thing that couples do all the time. They bring up old things from the past and they use it as a weapon for the future.
Yeah.
And it's a nasty habit.
It
It
is.
doesn't do any good for anybody, right? But it only perpetuates the nastiness, right? So every argument, the mistake resurfaces. So subtraction means removing that repeated resentment from the equation.
Mhm.
It doesn't mean that you're excusing the past. It just means you need to be free for the present.
I love that.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. Here's another example. A nurse carries home the stress of every difficult patient. You're in the home healthcare business.
Yeah. I was doing a
And
lot of that.
nurses have probably one of the highest depressions, second to dentists. We talked about that
We
yesterday.
did. Yeah.
And burnout is real.
And addiction.
And yeah, and addiction, and they all smoke,
Yeah.
right? I mean, there's all these things that you see of these people take care of us. So over time, the stress of that job of being a nurse subtracts from your peace and ultimately adds bitterness, because I know many nurses that are resentful of the jobs that they have.
Yeah.
And sadly, people are ultimately not appreciative of what they do, because in the end of the day, it is a sacrifice of them.
Yeah, it really is.
Some
Yeah.
people can be nurses and they love it. There are some people who are nurses but don't love it.
I think of
And
Nurse
they still do
Ratched.
it because of, Nurse Ratchet, right? Well, we've all had the nurse that doesn't
Oh,
care how you
yeah.
feel.
that-
We've
that
all
is
seen
true.
that, right? I'm thinking of Kathy Bates,
Right.
right? Okay, so consciously letting go as that nurse ends her shift,
Mhm.
consciously letting go of the negativity that may have come from that shift
Yeah.
is really important to balance herself back to net neutral.
Mhm.
Okay. So when you finish your shift at work, if your emotional feeling is one of negative,
Yeah.
then that's where we balance.
Right.
Immediately, we close by balancing and bringing it to neutral. So I may have had a rough day at work. And if I stop right there, I just put that rough day at work into my subconscious mind, and my brain will use that in the future and confirm it.
Yeah, that is
So that's why you have to counterbalance the negative thought with, and we'll talk about in a second, 3 to 5 positive thoughts. Okay.
Yeah.
Negative thoughts have more weight than positive thoughts. That's how we work as human beings.
Yeah.
And it's actually, we're going to hit the reference here in just a second, but it's 5 to 1.
Yeah.
That is what the studies have shown, that it takes 5 positive thoughts to outweigh a negative thought.
Isn't it
I think
something
it's
that
somewhere
just-
between 3 and 5
Yeah.
myself, right? Because if you have 3 big ones,
Mhm.
you could have 3 big positive things, and ultimately it goes back to your feeling. Okay.
Yeah.
So as you come up with 3 positive things, if you notice your feeling and your emotion shift
Mhm.
from negative to positive,
Right.
now you're neutral.
Yeah.
Okay. You don't have to keep going.
Yeah.
You could if you wanted to.
You could.
Right?
Sure.
If you do 3 and you're still feeling your day's crap,
Mhm.
come up with 2 more. The whole point is to go until you feel whole.
So you feel balanced. Yeah.
Right? I don't have to make myself ultra happy.
Right.
Maybe I want to.
Yeah.
But the key is to bring you to neutral so that those thoughts that you had start building a brain that is
Mhm.
wired neutrally instead of negative.
Yeah.
That's why we do it. And that's why the equation of life and abundant happiness is all about balancing thought. All right. So some cross-cultural connections, in Christianity, we call it forgiveness,
Yes.
right?
Yes, we do.
Subtraction is forgiveness,
Yeah.
and forgiveness is, of our debts, and we forgive our debtors. That's Christianity, right? In Buddhism, they emphasize detachment from desires and resentments. Okay, that's how they look at it in Buddhism. And in Stoicism, it's emphasized focus only on what is within our control. So it's kind of interesting. There's 3 different perspectives or frameworks of the same principle of subtraction.
So I just have one quick question. You have to forgive my ignorance. What exactly is Stoicism?
It's just a framework of thought that is not necessarily religious based. Okay, so think
More
of
like a free thinker.
to some extent, it's kind of like we're familiar with the Hermetic teachings.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's kind of along that lines of universal basic principles, but it's not necessarily aligned with God or Christianity or religion.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Okay.
So-
Thank you.
So the science of letting go. There was a psychologist. This is a reference I was talking about. Roy. This is a fun name. Baumeister. Roy Baumeister. Oh wait, we're learning how to use these things. There we go. Okay, so found the negative experiences outweigh the positive 5 times more strongly than the positives. Right. So in other words, our minds are naturally drawn towards the negative.
Mhm.
And we, in our minds, in our subconscious, negativity has a weight that is generally 3 to 5 times greater than the positive. And that's because of the way that we're wired.
Yeah.
And that's in our species, and which is designed for protection
Yeah.
and protecting the self. And that's where it comes from. And in fact, right, subtraction is really not something that's optional to have a happy life. It is mandatory,
Yeah,
right?
it is.
And it's one of the hardest things to do
Mhm.
because there's this particular part of your brain that
Has
that
attachments.
has attachments
Mhm.
to negativity, and
Yes.
that's your amygdala, right? Oh, that was weird. Where did that go?
I don't know.
Did we hit a button?
No.
I think we did. It's like sounds like a church in here. I must have hit a button. Yeah. It sounds like a church.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're gonna sound like a church the rest of the episode until we can get it back the next time.
You should hit your
Well,
hallelujah
it's
button,
the
your praise
reverb
button.
presets, right? Watch, it'll change. See, now it's a little bit different.
I hit your praise button.
What?
Hit your praise button.
Praise.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Praise. Oh, it must be empty.
Uh-oh.
See, it got erased.
Oh no. We're trying out new techniques for anyone that may be wondering what we're doing.
That's weird. Yeah,
That
this
is
board
weird.
was working and now it's not working. But you know what else is normal?
Yeah.
Electronic glitches around me. Like that happens regularly. I
But
don't know
that's
what it is
your-
about my energy,
your
but
psychic energy.
I make things not work. I mean, computers jack
Even
up,
when you're not
software.
at home and I'm at home,
The energy in my body does all kinds of
your
weird
house
things.
is.
Oh yeah, you stayed there for
Yeah.
a week, so you know what we're talking about. All right, so I can try it one more time. Original? Yeah, there it is.
There
So I
you
must
go.
have hit the button.
Okay.
I hit the button. There we go. So this one, that button. Reverb presets. Okay.
All right.
So getting back to the discussion, the amygdala is
Mm.
activated by negative stimulus.
Yeah.
That is the job of the amygdala. So when you experience something negative, the amygdala grabs it and goes, oh, I see a story in the past that relates to this present future, and
I'm
that
gonna
outcome was
apply it
not
today.
good. So I'm going to go ahead and filter the information that I'm sharing with you to protect you.
Right.
So essentially, your brain is protecting you in your subconscious, and that means that information that you should have seen, you do not see.
Yeah.
And that is real. I have
But that-
seen it happen.
Amygdala can really get you in some serious trouble, though.
Absolutely,
I mean,
because
all
the
the time.
amygdala,
Lives more in the past.
it does. The
Yeah.
amygdala lives in the past, not in the future.
Yep.
Right? And it's designed for protection. It's
Yeah.
part of our species,
Yeah.
right? That's how we're still alive today, because we have an amygdala.
And some
The
of ours are
downside-
overactive.
Yes, that's it right there. Sometimes they're overactive.
Yeah.
And when they're overactive,
They react without
they
thinking.
react without thinking,
Yeah.
right? And that's that magical 0.25 seconds that
was
you
me.
have.
That was
Okay,
me for a long time.
you have to find there is 0.25 seconds between stimulus and action.
Yeah.
0.25 seconds. It's quick. So you have to train yourself
Mhm.
to be able to transfer control of the thought from the amygdala
Yeah.
over to the prefrontal cortex. And there is a specific technique that we use and teach in our course that will train you on how to do that. And once you master the 0.25 seconds, which is what I call the moment of choice,
Right.
you become extremely powerful.
And if you want to learn how to do
Extremely
that, go to
powerful.
iplGRATITUde365
Mhm.
and join
Check
in.
us out on our
Yeah.
website. It's purelove.com, and you can sign up to meet with me, take one of our courses, and learn more about the equation life and abundant happiness. All right. The second thing about neuroscience and amygdala is the chronic negativity keeps us in survival mode.
Yeah.
Okay. And that shuts down that creativity and that connection and the potential for opportunities that you could have. But because you are negative and your brain is confirming and ultimately filtering, right? That's what your subconscious mind does. It filters the things that it thinks you need based upon survival.
Yeah.
So when we're living in negativity, we are living in survival mode. How many people can relate to living in survival mode? Raise your hand. Yeah, pretty
think we've
much
all been there, done
every
that.
single one of us, right?
Absolutely.
Every single one of us. Okay, and the other thing we got to get good at in moving the workflow of this is switching to that camera, right? Because we're a live podcast.
Yeah.
And we produce live. We don't edit anything. We like live content. And in the future, we're going to be on a road show, and we're going to encourage people to come up and talk about, and I'll probably have a second live mic where people can share what they're grateful for. Okay. And they'll just drop in the podcast and share what they love. And that's the whole idea. That's why I created it. That's why I came to the park. And the fun thing, Logan, is think of all the amazing people we've met in the park.
Oh yeah, we've
right.
Met
Just
a
this
lot.
morning, the two little ladies.
Right.
And I struggle with names. You do?
I do not know.
It's
their
been
names.
so long since we've
yeah.
seen them. Carmen is one of them.
And I want to say the other one is Maria.
I'm not sure, but think of all the people that we have met by being in the park, and that's what's exciting about taking this on the roadshow and then doing it just once a week.
And a lot of them we've met through their dogs first.
Yeah, the dogs. Yeah. It's the dog
because
walkers.
I think it's like an invitation. It's
dogs are an easy thing. Everybody can relate to the dog.
Absolutely,
and it's a breaker for a conversation.
Yep.
And here at the park, we're on the main promenade essentially, and so people walk by with their dogs, and it does feel like a dog show some days.
It's like Pets on Parade.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so the real truth is that here's a quote from Buddha: holding on to anger is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die.
Yeah. That is true. I've heard that one before.
Yeah. And that's true, right?
That is true.
And here's the thing with subtraction. When you don't let go of those negative things in your life, it is a poison.
It is a poison, and it weighs you down. It's so heavy.
It is so heavy. That's why I said negativity weighs more than positivity.
Every single day.
Right. So subtraction, when we talk about forgiveness, the Christian principle of forgiveness,
that is subtraction.
It is subtraction, right? But I don't know. It's forgiveness is important, but it's not for them.
It's for us.
It's for us, right? Because if we don't forgive, we're going to carry around that negative feeling and that negative energy, and that's going to show up in every aspect of our life. Why? Because our brain is going to be filtering our subconscious to only show us and confirm what we believe, which is negative.
Mentally,
confirmation
physically,
bias.
emotionally.
And that's why people get stuck.
Yeah.
People get stuck because they don't understand how their brain works. Garbage in, garbage out.
Yeah.
If your brain is negative, you have to reprogram it. To do that, you have to rewire the synaptic connections. That can be done. It is proven. Study after study in neuroscience has shown that gratitude can rewire your brain. I did not believe that.
Right.
Okay. And that's why most of the people in public, when you say gratitude, they roll their eyes.
Yeah, they do. They don't take it seriously.
There we go. Please and thank you. No, that's being polite.
I'm talking
more. Yeah. And that's the difference, right? A person that I highly respect and love is Mary Gardner,
right?
A friend of mine, and she's a public speaking coach and a professional coach of CEOs, and she's just a very dynamic woman and somebody that I respect. And Mary, I love the way Mary is applying the equation life and abundant happiness, because for her, it's like she realized that she was taking gratitude to a whole new level. Like me, I felt like I was good with please, thank you, but I didn't realize that I wasn't truly being grateful. And when you practice gratitude, and specifically gratitude entanglement, which is a technique that we teach, you're gonna connect with gratitude in the most beautiful, authentic, loving way.
In such a deep, rooted.
Yes. Yeah. And the reason why it works is, think about how our memories work. Our memories work based upon repetition.
Yes.
And the level of intensity of the emotion. So the beautiful thing about experiential learning, which is why I teach this way, is you're going to retain 90% of what I teach you, because you will remember it. Your body will remember it, and you will remember it mostly because of the feeling.
The emotion.
We remember significant dates in history because of the feelings that we all experienced. So I started thinking, okay, so if I want to rewire my brain, I need to have the most amazing emotion present when I'm rewiring my brain with positive comments and feelings. Okay, so that is what we figured out in gratitude entanglement.
Yes,
is combining high emotion with incredible positive at the same time, and ultimately it roto-rooters your brain.
It does.
That's why I'm saying
1000%.
Your traditional paths to rewiring your subconscious that are taught by many amazing people, right? Joe Dispenza is one of them. Their methods work. I'm a huge fan. The challenge is that it takes an extensive period of time. in the methodologies that they teach. A lot of it's around meditation,
And a
right?
lot of it, you have to read like several books to get
Oh
to
yeah,
the
it's a
the main-
process. I mean, it's a process,
Yeah.
and it does work.
It does.
It does work.
It does. We're
Dr.
not
Joe,
discrediting them.
nope. Dr. Joe has amazing material
Yeah.
and good followers, and a good guy.
Yeah.
But what I would tell you is, if you study and follow people that follow Joe Dispenza, they're on that journey for 6 months to a year
Yeah.
before they see the results of the work.
But we live in a society today where we want everything instantaneously. We want it not
Yeah.
yesterday, but we want it today.
Yeah.
We don't want to have to wait 6 months to a year to achieve what we want right now.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. And the thing that makes gratitude entanglement different is I can move you to a rewired brain
Mhm.
in 5 days.
Yes.
5 days. That's all it's going to take.
Yeah.
If you listen to what I teach you, and I'm going to say it, it's a little wacky. It's a little wacky in that people, when I explain it, they don't believe it. They don't
I
believe
wouldn't
it.
say wacky. I would say a little bit unconventional.
It is okay. That's
Yeah.
a better word.
Yeah.
Okay, I appreciate that. Wacky is not a good word. Negative. Remember brain. Remember brain. Remember brain. You see what I'm doing?
Yeah. You're
Okay.
cementing it
Yeah,
in.
I'm cementing it
Yeah.
in. I'm tapping my brain. I'm experiencing the emotion so that I won't use that word. Wacky. Okay. So I can't use the word wacky, but what's the word?
Unconventional.
Okay. See how you're my hard drive?
Yeah.
Okay. So unconventional. So ultimately, it's I don't know, I lost my train of thought. That happens.
So you're saying that it's unconventional the way that you teach it compared to like Joe Dispenza.
Yes. Thank you for
Mhm.
bringing me back on track from this crazy mind of mine. Yes, that is actually correct. So we do something in 5 days
Mhm.
that other people take months,
To
half a year to a year or
Yeah.
more to achieve. And
Yeah.
that's because of this very, very specific, amazing technique, which is grounded in neuroscience and rooted in gratitude, the
Yeah.
most important word in the world, in my opinion.
Yep.
All right. How many of us carry the little things that happen throughout the day with us throughout the day? So
I think a lot of us do that.
so
for
here's an
sure.
example, right? You get cut off in traffic.
Mhm.
You replay, like the other day that happened. I talked about it, where that guy started tailgating me and following me
Right,
because I
yeah.
wouldn't go over the speed limit.
Yep.
And it negative energy. And by the time I got to my friend's house, I was angry.
Yeah.
I was frustrated and I was upset. Now, I could have held on to that anger and that frustration, and I did. It caused my morning to be negative. And then I realized why I was feeling negative.
But then did you realize that it wasn't serving you in any
Exactly. And
particular
I
way?
let it go.
Yeah,
and I'm like,
you
you know
have to.
what? I don't know why that guy was in a hurry to get where he needed to get. And he certainly didn't exercise good communication
Right.
and love for his fellow man
Yeah.
by tailgating me and then flipping me off when he drove around me. Okay. That was not appropriate behavior. Okay. But that being said, I still had to let that go so it didn't ruin the rest of my day, but I should have let it go sooner.
Yeah.
You see, there was
'Cause
no
you allowed
reason.
it into your
I did.
world.
I did.
He was living rent free in your head for a
He
little
was.
bit.
Yep, that's
Yeah.
exactly right. And you determine who lives in your head.
Yeah.
That's a great
is true.
analogy. All right. So we have to let go of the things that are negative because they weigh us down in thought, and
Yeah.
ultimately it filters the things that could come to us.
Yeah.
We don't get the opportunities because our brain is wired negative.
Because we close ourselves off. We don't allow ourselves, that opening for positivity to enter our
That's
life.
correct, right? So the whole goal of the equation of life and abundant happiness is to reach net neutral, which is the space of complete nimbleness, right?
Right.
Think of that triangle,
Yep.
and you're right here.
Mhm.
And that allows you to balance and pivot 360 degrees.
Teeter-totter.
Okay? Yes.
Yeah.
And that is neutral. That is net
Right.
neutral. I don't want you to take your positive thought until you're happy. I want to take you to neutral.
Yep.
If you need to go to net happy, or you can, but it's a personal decision.
It is.
All you have to do to maintain a neutral mind is to take it to neutral,
Yeah.
right? So the way I was talking about the research earlier, so it came from Dr. John Gottman, and this study was done back in the early 2000s. So it's something that needs to be updated.
Right.
But in that study, he found that it takes 5 positive interactions to neutralize 1 negative interaction. Okay, so that explains why subtraction is critical, and it explains the important to maintain a neutral brain is to teach yourself how to neutralize your thought. And I teach that through the equation of life and abundant happiness.
Yes, true.
And with practice,
Yeah.
your brain will naturally begin, at first it's a skill. And I have to take time and think using my brain, what are 3 positive things? Maybe I need 5 positive things that I can think about to outweigh this negative thought that I just had. So now I'm consciously going through it, and then I'm thinking about my feelings, and I'm like, okay, I'm good. Okay, that guy cut me off. Okay, but the positives that came out of that guy cutting me off is, number 1, I realized that I need to focus better on subtracting quicker. So that's a learning moment from that. Number 2, that would be it for me. Okay.
Yeah.
I realized I didn't let it go quick enough. And the learning lesson for me was that right there. Okay. So could I keep going further? Yeah. Maybe because that guy was tailgating me, I didn't drive a little faster, because I normally drive faster.
Yeah.
And I didn't drive faster.
Speed
and because
racer.
I didn't drive faster, I didn't go through the intersection at the same time. So maybe I could have gone through the intersection. I could have been in an accident.
Yeah.
But because this guy was tailgating me and I was driving the speed limit, maybe that didn't happen.
Yeah.
You see? So that's how you balance the thought, so that it becomes equal in your mind. So in my mind, by me saying to myself, my lesson from that man that day was that I need to learn to let that go faster, right? Because he got under my skin. That's old road rage.
Well, I used to have a lot of road rage too. And then you had taught me one thing, like, you don't know what the other person might be going through.
That's right.
That guy might have just got fired from his job and he's taking it out on you, unfortunately.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. And that happens a lot.
Maybe better taking it out on you than go home and take it out on his
I'm
wife.
thinking about myself, right? Before I went through the equation of life and abundant happiness and learned all this stuff and fixed my own behavior and stuff, I was a Karen.
Yeah.
And not to people.
You're Richards.
Yeah. Nobody really knows what that means, though. If you say Karen, everybody knows what that is. But if you say Richard, they're like, what? It means you're a dick. I get it, but it doesn't work. It doesn't work. So I use the word Karen, or sometimes I'll say I'm a Kent. But again, people don't know what that means. So let's just say it's Karen. Okay, so I was a Karen, and I would take it out on people in the public
that crossed my path.
That crossed the boundaries, or they simply crossed my path and I let them have it, right? Definitely not proud of my old self there. But those are the things that I've worked on to let that stuff go. So when that guy tailgated me and I let it get under my skin, I have some work I need to do there, don't I?
Oh, yeah, a little bit.
The learning thing is I need to let that go. Why did that get under my skin? That's something I have to think about.
Yeah.
Why did that man, who I don't know, why did I give him that space in my head?
Yeah.
Okay, well, part of it is because I'm human.
Yeah.
Part of it's because my amygdala fired and I didn't balance.
Right.
I didn't balance.
Yeah.
So life is about practice.
Should have shook your bracelet.
Yeah, I should have, but I didn't. Nope, I didn't, because you know what? I'm learning too.
Yes, we are.
All right, here's an interesting quote. Some of us think holding on makes us strong, but sometimes it is letting go. That's from Herman Hesse, a Nobel-winning author of a book called Siddhartha. Have not read that book or familiar with it, but I do like that quote.
Yeah.
All right, now let's talk about some exercises that we can use for subtraction. Okay, so the basic idea is, again, and what we teach is that you have to balance the thought. We know that it takes 3 to 5 positive thoughts to outweigh a negative thought. So if I'm going to build and maintain a positive mind that is actually net neutral, I have to train myself to absolutely, every time I experience negative, to automatically, from my subconscious, find the positives. At first, it's practice. It's a skill. But in just a number of days, in a couple of weeks, it'll be automatic for you.
Yes, it will.
And you will balance your thought automatically through the method that we train.
Yes.
Yeah. So one of the things that we can do is, and it's just a practical exercise, you could write it down. And I encourage people to write, because when we're we're storing information in our brains differently.
Yeah.
So write it down, okay? Look at it, and then start writing the positives. What is the learning The key is the learning. Negative things that happen in our lives, we are not being punished.
They're
Right?
just teaching moments.
And
They're
that's
to
one of the
teach us
biggest
something.
problems I see with Christianity is the way that, and I was raised in the LDS church, and I, I grew up believing that God hated me. And he was
Same.
punishing me for not
Yeah.
doing good things. And I'm just trying to do the best I can. Hey, God, while you're at it, can you keep that man from abusing me over there?
Right.
Okay.
Exactly.
And I developed a negative relationship with
Yep.
God. Okay. So today I can't say that. Today I know I can look back and I can say, you know what? God was protecting me.
God was protecting you.
Okay.
It wasn't your
And if you don't
fault,
believe in God, that's okay. Believe it at the universe. Believe
Yeah.
it the power of love. I
Yeah.
don't care. This show is not about that.
Yeah.
This applies to every religion. It's a framework that can enhance and grow whatever it is you
framework is.
believe.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Right. The equation of life and abundant happiness can be applied to anything. My own personal thoughts and what I believe, those are mine.
Those are.
And
Yeah.
I'm not interested in starting a religion. There's plenty of them out there. Pick one that you like.
Yeah.
Pick one that your heart says is the right one for
Yeah.
you,
Yeah.
and live it with vigor.
Yeah.
Live it with vigor. All right. So you can write one thing down, 3 to 5 things that are positive. Then examine how you're feeling.
Yeah.
If you've processed it correctly, and the key word is processed.
Yeah.
You see, if you've processed it correctly, you put it away in your mind and your memory, and it's effectively neutralized, right? So kind of think of your brain as like you're like skeet shooting, okay? And boom, out comes something negative, and I got to think, okay, it's coming. There's 3 positive things. 1, 2, 3, pull the trigger, boom.
Yeah.
And I disintegrate that negativity, and now it goes into my subconscious mind, neutral. It's not going to hurt me.
Right.
You see, the problem with our minds is it's programmed negative.
Yeah.
We live that way in our society. We created that as human beings, but we don't have to be that way.
It's sad and it's unfortunate that we live that way.
Here's another exercise that you can do, and this is a visualization that you can do. And you're going to laugh because you're going to recognize this thing, because I used that principle to teach you something. Right on your 0th birthday. I taught you something. Okay, but picture a backpack full of stones. Okay, so when you're thinking of something negative that happened to you, remember your brain doesn't know the difference between what actually happens and what you imagine to happen. The brain does not know the difference.
And along the way, the brain will embellish and
your amygdala does that. Embellishes the truth to justify your behavior. And that's where self-limiting beliefs come from. We experience things as negativity in our as children. You fell off your bike. And like the first time I fell off my bike and I got all bloodied and nasty, I remember going into the house crying, and my mom and my dad supported me and comforted me and got me to get back on that bike. But the first time I fell off the bike, no, I'm going to use a different story. Motorcycle. Okay. Okay. I had a motorcycle. My brother Gary is insane in his ability on anything on 2 wheels. Right. And anything that goes fast or drives mechanical, his brain is incredible, and his skill sets. Good morning, everybody. Gary got a YZ80 as a motorcycle, and my dad was always trying to bring me along with my brother, but I was nothing like my brother. Okay, so what I mean by that is I was a musician. And I was musically inclined and artistically inclined and creatively inclined in a different way than my brother. And my brother and my dad were very much into cars and all those kinds of things. And I love cars. Don't get me wrong. I don't like fixing them. Right. Patience was something that I struggled with, and focus and attention. We were the flashlight holders. I called myself the illumination specialist. That's what people said in my family. See, and right there, I would hit the laugh button. Right. But I don't know what's going on. It's like they're gone. I don't know. That's weird. They like erased out of the board.
That's a bummer.
It is a bummer. Well, I'll get it. I'll have to reprogram it. Okay. So my dad went out and bought me a motorcycle. It wasn't as fast as my brother's, and we painted it, and we made it look nice, and I was proud of it, right? And then we would go out and we would ride together, and my brother could jump and just sail and boom, and I go over it and that was me. That wasn't my skill set. So, I think I fell off the motorcycle 1 or 2 times. And nobody ever really helped me and taught me how to ride better. Okay.
Yeah.
And so I wrote this story that I can never be as good as my brother, and I quit. I basically quit riding my motorcycle. My dad would be like, "Do you want to go riding with Gary and I?" And I'd be like, "No, I'm okay." Now, had I had somebody teach me the skills that I needed to be successful, I probably wouldn't have given that up. But here's the thing. That was the self-limiting belief that meant that anything on wheels that went fast, I avoided it.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. So even though 3-wheelers came out and then 4-wheelers came out, I'm like, oh, I'm just going to fall just like I did on the motorcycle. And I didn't use them.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's how a self-limiting belief shows up. Right. And my brain created a story around the times I fell off that motorcycle and reminded me of how I felt, which was what? Humiliation.
Yeah,
I felt humiliated because I crashed. My brother went over. I didn't. I crashed.
You felt like
I felt humiliated.
Yeah.
Yes. And there was probably some laughter.
Yeah.
Right. From my brother.
And that just adds
yeah.
to
And
it.
he was laughing at the situation, not at me, but I absorbed it.
Right.
And I didn't balance the thought as a child. I wrote the story. I embellished the story throughout my life that I could never drive anything fast. And then I believed it.
Yeah.
And it became a self-limiting belief.
It gets stuck in you.
Correct.
Yeah.
And we all have them.
We do.
When we write the wrong stories with our brains that are not mature enough, and we weren't taught emotional intelligence and how to balance that, or the 0.25 seconds that you have between when your amygdala executes something from the negative subconscious and when you actually take action.
Because we're like a sponge and we absorb all that negativity in stores with.
Getting back to the backpack exercise of the visualization of wearing a backpack, holding this negative thing that I just experienced. Now I can carry that negative thing in my backpack all day with me, and it weighs 50 pounds.
And you can carry it probably for the rest of your life.
It weighs 50 pounds.
Yeah.
And that's why the weight of negativity, you carry it with you the rest of life. And that's why people say negativity weighs you down. It does.
It kills you.
So in that backpack example, that rock that you're carrying, that boulder is 50 pounds in your backpack. And you can carry that the rest of your life. By the way, Logan, here's another one. Here's 50 more pounds. Pounds of crap are you carrying around, weighing down in your emotional energy, not allowing you to achieve the fullest potential in life?
That's a good question to ask yourself.
Okay.
Today.
So visualize. Let's take you through the exercise. Visualize that thought.
Right.
Okay. Close your eyes. Visualize something that you're holding on to that you need to let go of. All right. Now think of 5 things that are worth 10 pounds each that I can neutralize this thought to get rid of it. Okay. So maybe I think of a thought and I go, you know what? That's a positive benefit. I can see how that will move me towards neutral. And I'm going to give it a weight of 10 pounds. Thinking this next one. Oh, wow. I see that. That is an amazing learning lesson. That's worth at least 30. So I'm now up to 40. I've got to 40 pounds and I've removed them from the backpack. Okay. I removed that weight from the backpack. And then the last thing is I still got it. All right. I need one more. 10. Okay, I got it. All right. So now I've neutralized it in my mind. I've removed them visually in my mind, and I'm processing that negative event. Okay. The key is to process the negative event. If you don't process it, you're going to put it away negative.
It's funny that you say that because it reminds me of that game on The Price is Right, the cliffhanger, where you keep going up, and if you don't release and get rid of that negativity and all that BS, you're going to fall off the cliff.
Yeah, that's true. Right. Yeah, you got to weigh it down. So this is an exercise. It's a technique you can do. We call it the backpack exercise. So again, close your eyes. Think of the thing that you have, assign it a weight, okay? And then think of the positive things and apply a value to those things that you're visually thinking. Visually, I'm removing this from the back of my backpack and I'm setting it here. It's not going to hurt me. Removing this from my backpack, I'm setting here. That visual exercise will neutralize, process a thought, and put it away neutral in your mind so that it doesn't become a negative event that your subconscious and your amygdala will use to filter your future.
And don't say I keep anything positive to neutralize that, because
that's
isn't a word, and everyone has something positive in their life to be thankful.
It does take practice, and that's one of the things that you learn when you apply the equation of life and abundant happiness. Is it does take practice.
It does.
It does take practice to get good at spotting the positivity. It's skill, and it's a skill that we teach. Okay, because when you get that skill,
Mhm.
ultimately it becomes automated in your subconscious, and
Yeah.
then you no longer have to do it.
Right.
Like there's many things that I see now that are negative,
Mhm.
and I don't necessarily have to neutralize them, and I don't have to put the thought there. My brain automatically goes, yeah, you don't need it.
Yeah,
Let it go.
you don't need to
Boom,
entertain
don't
that.
need it, let it go.
Yeah.
You know, so there are many things that used to be self-limiting beliefs or triggers that used to hold me back.
Mhm.
Old men, right? I was
Right.
abused
Same.
by men with gray hair.
Yeah.
So for most of my life, I avoided any male that had white gray hair and a ton of liver spots on their
Yeah.
hands. That
Yeah.
would freak me out.
Yeah.
Okay. So most of my life, I did not have friendships,
correlation with-
relationships with anybody old.
Yeah.
With anybody. I
Yeah.
just close off and disappear, right?
Mhm.
So how many people in my life could have had an amazing positive influence on
That
me,
you
but
missed.
because of that self-limiting belief,
Yeah.
I missed that relationship.
Right.
So now when I go out into public, okay, before I used to always look down.
Mhm.
Okay, I looked down because I didn't want to look at the faces of the people that I would see, because I did not want to see an old man that reminded me of the person that hurt me.
Yeah.
So I spent most of my life looking slightly down.
Mhm.
Okay, ask yourself that question. Next time you go walking out in public, where's your gaze?
Yeah, most
Okay,
people it's
that is
looking at
a
their
really
phones.
great indicator
Yeah.
of how you're actually showing up in the world.
Yeah.
Okay, I can take somebody and spend some time with them, and just from their nonverbal clues tell you where they're at in their emotional head. People that walk looking down are victims. People
They
that
are.
walk looking up and straight forward,
Are
they
confident.
are dialed in, they are confident, and most importantly, they're in the here and now.
Yep.
When you're thinking about the past, you're generally not looking up, you're looking down. That's a
true.
habit. We all do it.
Yep.
Now, granted, we do have to keep an idea while we're walking of what's in front of us, okay? But we don't have to put our heads down. I realized that that was a habit that was hard for me to break,
Mhm.
because there's a little bit of shame in there.
Right.
When
Yeah.
you're looking down as you're walking, you're not exhibiting
confident. You're not
confidence.
owning
No,
the
when you
room.
walk into the room, do you walk into the room looking down like I'm embarrassed, nobody look at me? Or do you walk in the room head up, proud with, hey, maybe I don't have all the answers,
Yeah.
but I know who I am, and I am aware, and I'm awake.
Yep.
Welcome to the party.
There you go.
Okay, that's the difference.
That is.
All right, so here's another one that we can use as a technique for subtraction, for letting go. This is called the forgiveness letter,
Mhm.
and that's actually one of the cards in my experiential learning deck. Okay,
Yes.
that is ultimately what I'm producing, and you learn from 101 experiential exercises that will change your heart and change your mind.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what these exercises do. One of those exercises on that card is called the forgiveness letter. Okay, and it is a forgiveness letter that is not sent. So here's the exercise: write a letter to the person or the situation that is causing pain. Don't send it. Destroy it as a symbolic action of subtraction.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm thinking of somebody, and you know who they are, we're not talking names, that really kind of burned me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
And kind of showed up in my life, and then kind of turned out to be somebody that they
False
weren't.
misrepresentation.
Yes. Yeah. We fluffy wolf.
Yes.
Right? This person was a fluffy wolf. And, once I figured that out and I realized it, I made the decision of subtraction, and I let that friendship go.
Yeah.
And I closed it on a positive note.
Yeah.
Okay. There was a conversation, and I wished this person best in their life journey. But I realized the true self.
Yeah.
And I realized how that person was showing up and how it was affecting me, and the control that person was trying to put on my life in trying to force me to heal from something that clearly I needed to heal from, right?
Yeah.
I'm talking about an event that happened at my class reunion,
Right.
okay?
Yep.
Being bullied as a kid repeatedly by certain people, yeah, and one of those bullies was at that class reunion, and I checkmated him in a loving way, but I could have done it better.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll own that.
But you
I
did it
could have
with
done it better.
confidence. You didn't
I
go into
did.
the reunion
I
down and
No, but I could have handled it better, and I own that. But that person that I was referring to that bullied me was once my best friend. Okay, so very, very deep scars there. And and what's interesting was, eventually I wrote that man a letter. And I sent him a letter because I apologized, because I realized that I could have handled that better.
You maybe could have handled it better, but
so
was
he
also
read
your
the
teaching
letter.
moment.
He read the letter, and then decided to respond. And I encouraged him, I'm not interested in speaking. Okay, I'm going to choose the form of communication I'm comfortable with, and that's not one of them. You can write me a letter. Well, unfortunately, the post office screwed up, and the letter got rejected. Okay, and then everybody, quote, got mad at me, acting like I hadn't done anything to try and rectify and correct the situation when I actually had. Okay, so this person made a bunch of assumptions, didn't do due diligence, let the emotions in her get away from herself, and she became vindictive and mean. Okay, because she was trying to force me to heal on a timeline that wasn't hers to move.
And technically, she didn't have a dog in that fight to begin with.
She did not have a dog in the fight.
But she chose to be in it.
She chose to be in it.
Yeah.
Yep. And ultimately, though, what did it cost her?
A friendship.
A friendship.
Yeah.
That's correct. Because
multiple friendships.
Yeah. Now, if that person can fix that negativity in their life, and they're willing to understand that, healing is on my timeline.
Yeah.
Okay,
nobody else's.
It's nobody else's.
Yeah.
Yours is on your timeline.
Yeah.
Okay, and she was trying to force me to heal that, and she didn't like the fact that I wrote a letter. She thought, no, you guys could be friends again, like you were when you were a kid. I'm like, no, it's not going to happen.
Right.
Let it go.
You have to do what's comfortable.
But she
and right
kept
for
pushing,
you.
and that's when I said, okay, this is not going to work.
Yeah.
Okay, and I realized that she just wasn't in that space.
Yeah.
And I'm grateful for her. And I will love her from afar.
Yep. Sometimes that's all you can do.
I appreciate what I learned from her, because I learned a lot from that relationship. Yeah, absolutely. I learned a lot from that.
And
I'm grateful for
the
that.
next relationship.
It is,
You'll
but
have clues to look out for.
Life is a sea of probabilities.
It is.
Right? Everything happens for a reason.
It does.
It's you're learning.
Yes.
Every negative event that happens in your life, you're not being punished.
Right.
I'll say it again. Let that go.
Yep.
It's nothing more than a learning environment. Yep. What do I need to learn? What is the feedback that's telling me that life is telling me that this doesn't work?
Yeah.
Okay. That's what it is.
Yeah.
It's just that. Negativity equals teaching. That's what
True.
it is.
Yeah.
It is not negativity equals punishment.
Right.
It's not that. But Christianity kind of pushes that,
They
unfortunately.
do. Yeah.
Right. And I don't think it's intentional, but I think it does kind of happens.
Yeah.
Some churches are intentional in the way that they use that to control. Okay. All right. Now, the forgiveness letter is something that you can write. So I could write a letter to this person, and it's actually something I'm going to do the exercise.
Okay.
So I'm going to write a letter. Now, I'm going to tell you that when you're processing, do not type.
Right.
Okay.
Handwriting.
Yes.
It's
Handwriting
more
affects your
seep
brain
into your
differently.
brain
It seeps into your brain.
Yeah.
Handwriting, don't type. So handwrite that letter. Be genuine, but first start with thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. Write your letter and as if you were sending it to the person, and thank them for the goodness that they represent, and thank them for the things that they taught you by the interaction, because that's important.
That is important.
Then get to the middle of the letter. Rate how you feel, the grievances, your opinion, what you would share with this person if they were sitting in front of you. Write that, but again, handwrite that stuff out and be authentic.
Yeah.
Then,
give a little feedback.
Correct. And then how do we always close when we create a sandwich? It's always positive, negative in the middle, and positive.
Yep.
Okay. We call that the poop sandwich.
Yep.
Okay. So I'm giving this person a sweet poop sandwich.
Yeah.
And that sweet poop sandwich is thank you, thank you, thank you. You could have done better. Here's my feedback. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So then I would close that letter by again thanking that person and kind of sealing it and the thought and the process and leaving it on a high note, on a positive, right? And thanking that person for what they represented. So I'm going to close that letter by thanking this person for what they represented in my life and the things that came from it and the things that I learned. And I'm also grateful for the lessons that I learned, which is the importance of letting go at the appropriate time.
Right.
Because I had kind of felt some negative energy coming from this person. And a lot of it, it felt like jealousy from me. And it's an ugly emotion.
Yeah.
And, ultimately I should have left then, but I kept working on that friendship and the relationship because there were other things that were positive. But ultimately I realized I had to let it go.
Yeah.
Because the person that I thought they were was not who they actually put themselves out to be.
That false
right? So and that's actually what she accused me of, which was, and I'm like, here's the difference, honey. Here's the difference. Healing is on my timeline,
It is.
not yours, and you do not have a dog in this fight.
Yep.
You even said to me, I will not get involved. But then she stepped up,
Inevitably,
got
she
involved, and judged me because I'm moving fast enough and I wasn't moving in the mode of apology that she felt was warranted.
Yeah.
Well, this isn't your dog and this ain't your fight, sweetheart.
This isn't her call to make.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's when I realized that this person is about control.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I realized that I love this person, Fluffy Wolf.
Yeah.
Fluffy Wolf. There's some work that needs to be done there.
There's some
right?
damage.
And
there.
there's also some work that I need to do.
Yeah.
Right. There's some work that I need to do around that to process that.
But the difference between you and this individual is that you recognize the work that you need to do. This other person will probably never see and recognize the work that needs to be done.
No. So ultimately, right, in the equation of life and abundant happiness, subtraction isn't about erasing. It's not. It's not about erasing. It's about consciously processing and then releasing the emotion.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
It's releasing the emotion. All right. Here's one more that you can try to reclaim your life in subtraction. So in your digital life, subtract the endless scrolling to reclaim time that can be more productive.
Yeah.
Right. We all know that these apps are designed to draw us in with dopamine hits, and they work. And the next thing you know, you just wasted an hour watching stupid stuff because you kept getting the dopamine hits. Okay.
Yeah.
And trust me, these big tech companies know psychology. They know all that stuff. It's crazy.
Yep.
How much they know about
like,
consumer
what you don't
behavior.
like, and,
Oh yeah. And in this new network, where we're when you sign up for the free app, it's free because you're giving them your data. Yeah. That's why it's free. And then they use that data to sell to you and to sell to other companies. That's why Google's Google, Facebook, Instagram's Instagram.
You might as well just give them your birth certificate and your social security card.
Well, if you have a Gmail, everything you give and receive, they know about that.
That is true.
So think about that.
Yeah.
And there's so much information. And now these massive databases have all this information that's contained in central deposits.
And when there's a breach, we all get scared.
Yeah. That's the scary part. All right. So digital life, right? That's actually in my experiential deck, right? Yeah. Where I ask you to go for 1/2 of a day without your cell phone.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to ask you to leave the cell phone home. And man, is that a learning. Like when I did that accidentally, I did not realize how often I subconsciously reach for my dang phone.
And then you realized how much you were missing in the world.
Yeah, that was a huge learning for me. Yeah. Well, I noticed it every time I reached. Yeah. And the thing is, it's a habit, right? It's like, because the phone is, it's like, it fills time today. Right. I'm standing in line, and before we had these phones, we talked to people and we had human connection. Yeah. And now we stand on their phone. I'm going to get on my phone because I don't want to look like the idiot that's just standing here. So the next thing you know, I'm on my phone. Well, what goodness came from that? Nothing.
I'm always the idiot that's standing there just looking around because I don't want to be on my phone in line.
Good for you.
I'm paying attention to see if that cashier is
so how do
faster than this one.
Don't do that.
I'm trying to look at
That's one thing you don't do.
Trying to look for the magazine for the latest gossip. I'm a star.
I used to get into a line at the grocery store, and I would analyze and pick the right one, and then then I'm gauging, did I make the right decision? Oh, now that guy's 3 people ahead of me because of what was in their cart, and it literally, I used to do that, and it would drive me nuts, and my patience would go through the roof. Now I let my heart direct me to the person I need to go to. Okay. When you live the equation of life and abundant happiness, you're going to get coherence. You're going to get coherence between your heart and your brain. I will connect them to work together like they once did when you were a child, before your heart disconnected from your mind, before you started using your mind to direct your life instead of your heart. Your heart will direct you better than anything.
This is
anything.
True. Yeah.
But you have to be heart-centric, and to be heart-centric, you have to be net neutral. And to get to net neutral, you have to learn this practice. You have to learn how to balance your thought. You can remain net neutral. Yeah. All right. Here's one more. Self-talk. Subtract falseness to hear your true self. So when you find yourself having internal thoughts that are negative, police that thought. Okay? That is a technique that we teach in the class. We use something as a modifier to remind you of where you're at emotionally, right? And if you're having negative self-talk, this specific technique will help you identify when you're doing that, because it's just a habit, right?
It is.
The negative self-talk is a habit of the subconscious mind, which is still obsessed with the depression and the mistakes you made in the past.
And what we learn, if we don't practice it daily, you can fall back into old habits quickly.
Yes. And I guess ultimately that's what makes what we do and what we teach different from virtually anything else that I've seen out there, is that I give you, because transformation without an anchor is temporary. Okay, so I want you to think of it like this way. When you transform, I can take, in fact, we did this on your 0th birthday, right? We transformed how you looked. We went to Nordstrom's. We met with a stylist. We picked out some amazing clothes that were not cheap, but they were beautiful, and they highlighted your build and your body, right? And you walked out of that Nordstrom's looking like $1 million, and it helped your confidence, didn't it?
Greatly.
It did. Okay. So now I've got confidence because I look good. I feel good in my new clothes. Okay. And the reason that I taught you that is because I wanted you to feel what you looked like when you were confident.
And you also wanted me to learn to love myself for who I am, what I look like. And stop that comparison.
Right.
That comparison robs you of your joy.
Prior to going, this is a show of vulnerability here. We share our lives. So prior to going, you had a habit of constantly, I called it tenting. Right. When my weight is bigger, I'm going to tent myself so you can't see me. So I'm going to wear baggy shorts and baggy shirts, and I'm going to look like a tent. Okay. And what really looks good on you is when you embrace the figure of your body. Right. So when you're at a comfortable weight that you are good with, embrace it. That is the weight, the natural weight of your body. It is. It's in your genetics, right? You're never going to be skinny meanie. It's not in your genes. I'm not a skinny meanie either. I'm wide boned. If I don't pay attention to what I'm eating and have, good food and good exercise, I'm going to get big, because unfortunately the Martin side of the family are big people. Okay?
I'm big boned and I got some big meat around those bones.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, but didn't you notice how different you felt when you looked in the mirror that first time and you saw yourself in clothing that actually fit correctly? And it accentuated your body.
And it's funny that you bring that up, because when you folks were on vacation and I was scrolling through my phone looking at old photos, and I seen those photos, and it just brought back a flood of memories of goodness and it just made me feel happy.
So I want you to use the photos that I gave you from 0 day and all the things that we did on your quote transformation day. Those photographs should be something you go to when you're feeling down and negative. Okay. Open that folder, hit those photos, watch those movies of you, going down that path on that horse that you had never been on.
Well, I was feeling a little down and depleted because of my recent diagnosis. And it was just playing on my mind, and I had to kind of shift my mind a little bit. And that's when I went into my photos and looked at photos that would bring me happiness and joy and bring me back to that place I need to be.
So that's one other technique, right, that you can do to counter negative feeling and negative thought. Okay, so if you're feeling negatively because something's happened, obviously you want to try and neutralize the negative event or situation. You got to neutralize it, bring it to neutral. But something you can always do if you need to lift and shift your emotional energy quickly is go back to your phone and create an album of goodness. That's what I call it. It's an album of goodness. And in that album of goodness are pictures of situations and people
and events
that have amazing positive emotional energy attached to them. So when I see that image, I'm reminded of the feeling of the day I watched my grandson first swim across the pool.
And it brings back those emotional
feelings. That's right. And because we're driven by emotion, right? That emotional energy. So I just need to manipulate my feelings to feel better at the moment. So why not create an album on your phone, right? That you can go to that only has photos that have a huge, massive emotional impact. Create a slideshow of those photos and hit play. Listen to the music and look at that incredible life that you live, and be grateful for every single moment that you have, because it is a gift. We woke up this morning.
We did.
And some people didn't. The gift of living starts every morning. What are you doing with your day to show that you're truly grateful for what you have.
Live your best life, because doing this experiment, we started almost exactly a year ago.
Mhm.
That year has gone by so fast.
Yeah.
Time is so fleeting. So you have
Yeah.
to enjoy the moments that you have today. Don't worry about what happened yesterday. Focus
Very
on
true.
today. Don't look
Yep.
for tomorrow, because tomorrow's not here yet.
Tomorrow may not be here.
Today's your gift. Today's
You
the
have
present.
to live every day
As
in
if
the
it's your
present
last.
moment as if it's your last, because none of us know when it is our
Yeah.
last day.
And don't be afraid to say, I love
You know who knows when her last day is?
your source.
Source.
Yep.
Your source.
When you've learned all the
Yep.
lessons you need to learn,
You're done.
Your time is, yep.
It's time to go back home.
Mm-hmm.
Going back home. Heaven is home.
Yep.
We're just here temporarily to learn.
Yeah.
Right? We got to get this body in order to teach the soul.
Yep.
Okay? That's why we come here, and then we return home.
And what
right?
we've learned is we've chose this body ourselves. We
We did.
chose the shell that we want to live in,
Mhm.
because
And
it's
that
teaching us
came-
something.
Yep. Mhm. Yep. It's part of your plan, right? And the genetics between your mother and father created you.
Yeah.
Okay. And you have genetic predispositions that comes from your DNA, but just because it's there genetically does not mean that you have to become it.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Many people are wired certain ways, right?
Mhm.
80% of our personalities comes from genetic.
Yeah.
80%.
Yeah.
20% of our personalities comes from living life experience.
Mhm.
Have you ever wondered, when you look across the children of people, you can see the personalities of the parents?
Yeah.
We get the personalities through our genes
Yeah.
and through the behavior of the parents. But remember, behavior is just an expression of your genes.
Yeah.
Because when you experience negative things, it affects your genes.
Yeah, it does.
Right? We know about that study where they took mice,
Mm-hmm.
and they would basically shock them anytime that they had a certain kind of food.
Yeah.
Okay. And the mice learned that if they take this food, they get shocked.
Yep.
So they quit eating the food.
Yep.
Okay. Then they let those mice have babies.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And those mice as babies, when they were given that food, even though they were not with the mother or present with the mother, they wouldn't eat it.
Yeah.
So what does that mean? It was inherited in their genes.
Yep.
Negative things that happen in life affect your DNA and affect your genes.
100%.
We talked about how my daughter Savannah has big time anxiety when she goes into public.
Yeah, I've seen
that. Came from me.
Yeah.
That was in my genes. That came from my life experience of being abused as a child and being afraid to be in public.
Mm-hmm.
That was in my genes. That's why my daughter has that anxiety. She inherited that genetically from me.
And then you just have to wonder if the boys will pick up on that and inherit that.
So those things that we inherit, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're naturally inclined to that, but it doesn't mean that we have to become it.
It doesn't have to be generational.
It does not. You stop it. You stop it in your family.
Yeah.
That's right. Exactly. Okay. So I feel like we've hit the topic pretty well. I think the key thing is simply understanding the importance of subtraction, and it's actually the most difficult principle to master.
It is
letting go. It is the one that I've struggled with in my life, letting things go.
But it's also the most cathartic thing to let
things
because
go. When you let it go, the feeling is
you're just opening the door for something good to happen and enter your life that
you
need.
and that's why in doing this show today, listening to my own emotions and my own words, I realize I still have some negativity attached to Fluffy Wolf.
Yeah.
And I need to write Fluffy Wolf that letter.
There you go.
And then I'm going to symbolically burn it.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to close that chapter, and I'm going to burn that letter, send it into carbon, destroy it, and I'm going to put that away.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to be writing that letter
so
today.
much better by doing so.
I'm going to write that letter today.
Good for you.
I'm going to write that letter, and I'm going to burn it, and I'm going to let that go, because I've been carrying that negative and affecting me.
That
and I'm just going to be honest.
It's not serving you.
I got to let it go. It does not serve me. Nope. That's why it's the hardest.
Yeah.
It's the hardest. And that's because our brains are wired to negativity to keep us safe, to protect us. And that's why you have to overstimulate the positive to overcome the negative.
I won't go into detail, but I recently did that, and you know what I'm referring to. I had to let something go and feel so much better by doing that. It was just something I needed to do a long time ago.
Right. And that was a person. It was a person that you had to let go because they were bringing toxic energy to you. And as much as you tried, that person was not in a space to heal.
I'm thinking of that one, but I'm also thinking of another one where I had to let a couple people go in a sense.
Okay.
And without
Okay.
saying what that is, you know what that is.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yes, we all do. We
Yeah.
all need to do it.
We do.
Right? Okay.
You gotta
So
clean
here's
out the
my
closet.
challenge. Here's my challenge today. Right? I gave you some ideas of some things that you can do to practice subtraction in daily life. Right? We talked about removing scrolling, self-talk, using the backpack visualization method, the forgiveness letter, and moment of choice, learning out. So those are all techniques you can use to help with subtraction. So my question really today is, what's the one thing that you could subtract today that would free your soul towards neutral balance? So I'm gonna have every listener today to add and think of that one thing, and then use some of the techniques that we talked about. And if you want a list of the techniques, send me a notice and a DM, and I'll send you an email. I'll send something to you that'll help you with these exercises. Okay. If you want that, I'm happy to.
And you can go to iplGRATITUde365 for that.
Yep. That's correct. All right. So recapping, subtraction in the equation of life and abundant happiness is about letting go of negative things to restore balance. And balance is neutral. Okay. Negativity is also heavier than positivity. That's why we have to do a 3 to 5 to 1 on negativity. And you can use the backpack visualization exercises with weights as a way to visualize and let that go and process it. All right. We know that science has proven that we must release and not always just add. And that's a thing that we as human beings struggle with. Like, those people that self-medicate with shopping. If I buy this, it'll make me feel better. Or once I get this job, I'll be happy. Well, why are you chasing happy when you can be happy right now? Okay?
Happiness is a choice.
But that's something that is very common, in our world. So we got to let it. Sometimes the greatest gift is actually forgiveness.
And then once you're chasing that dream, and once you get it, you're still not happy, because then you start chasing another dream. You start chasing something different, something shinier, something brighter. And then once you get that, you're still not happy. You go for the next thing.
Correct. So you learn that happiness is a feeling of the present moment, where I have mastered and completely balanced everything in my life. When you learn the equation of life and abundant happiness, and you take the course and you do the exercises, and I give you the tools that you need, that's what you're going to learn. You will learn how to balance, and within a week, your life will be completely different.
I was kind of like the Grinch. I had a very small heart. And then once practicing this, my heart grew 10 times.
That is a great analogy.
Yeah, that's how it feels. It's the most exciting, beautiful thing.
I would say meeting you were the Grinch.
Yeah, I was closed off. I was that poster child for being a victim.
Yes.
I am not a victim anymore. Despite challenges today, I'm embracing them and accepting them for what they are.
Right. And you learn the equation of life and abundant happiness. And by learning and applying the principles and techniques, you're no longer on any antidepressants, any antipsychotics. You no longer have DID. You no longer have complex PTSD. You no longer have paranoid schizophrenia. You're no longer bipolar. You're no longer bulimic. And you're no longer anorexic.
And I'm no longer a mutilator either.
And a mutilator. So 7 things that completely erased from your life, and it's been permanent. Why is it permanent? Because the anchor is set in gratitude. 100%. And if your emotional energy shifts, what do you know? I need to go create gratitude. I use the techniques that Thayne has taught me, and I'm going to uplift my emotional energy, and I'm going to change my day, and I'm not going to carry that crap with me. I'm letting it go.
That is my goal, is to get out today. To do some of that today.
I'm really glad that we did this show today, because I've been carrying around some crap that I needed to let go, and in processing and talking about it today, because this is a live podcast, and it started out as a social media experiment. And if you go back and listen to all of our old episodes that were only on Instagram, you'll see the progression of where this came from and how we created it, because I didn't learn this technique. It was an accident. It was an accident. I learned the mistakes as an accident, but it wasn't an accident. It was a gift, and it was a gift from the universe, from God, whatever you believe. To me, I needed that gift, and I needed to understand it. And now I understand it, and I put it together with what I knew from my near-death experience. And out of that came the equation of life and abundant happiness. 2 events that, when joined, created what I now teach.
Well, even if you did think of it as an accident, there's great accidents throughout the time of history. Penicillin was formed from somebody leaving out cheese.
Right.
The apple fell on Newton's head.
My
that was an
grandfather, I was
accident.
named after my grandpa.
Mhm.
His name is Thayne Free.
Yep.
And he used to deliberately let the cheese mold.
Really?
Mm-hmm. He kept a block of cheese, cheddar cheese, in the
Wasn't
refrigerator,
Velveeta, right?
and let it grow mold, and he would eat it.
Oh,
Yeah, because it was full of antibiotics.
I'm allergic
Penicillin.
to penicillin. So.
Yeah, he was so he was naturally getting penicillin from moldy cheese.
Homeopathic
And I remember
methods.
he handed it to me, and he's like, "Here you go." And I'm looking at it's green and fuzzy, and I'm like, "No way, that's going in my mouth, Grandpa. Ain't gonna happen." And then he just take it back, put it in his mouth, and eat it, and smile and walk away. That was my grandpa. He was a wild man. Oh yeah, the stories I could tell you about that guy. Yeah, I know I got a lot of my wildness from that man right there. That was why I was named after him, apparently. So, yeah, big practical joker too. In fact, I'll tell a quick funny story, and we'll close the show. So, at one point, good morning, sir. My grandpa was in the hospital, and he was really good at practical jokes, right?
Mm-hmm.
So being a nurse, you can kind of appreciate this. So he was bedridden and wasn't able to get out, right? So he had to use the little urinal thing that they give you, right?
Yeah.
So the nurse came in, and he picked up the urinal thing. But before that, he poured his apple juice into the urine thing and put the urine in the apple juice can. So then when she came in, she went to grab it, and then he picked it up, and he looked at it and goes, "Oh, this looks a little cloudy. Let me run it through again." And then he drank it. But he drank the apple juice, but the nurse thought it was urine.
Yeah.
Okay. She ran out of the room, man. It was the funny thing. And then my mom and dad were there, and I was not in the room when he did it, but I heard the laughter, and then I went in and found out what he had done, right? But that was my grandpa, just a practical joker and constantly messing with people just to bring joy. You know what I mean? We all love people that are good at humor, right? And that's one of your superpowers, because you have some incredibly funny one-liners, and you have that incredible memory of all of those television shows that you watched as a source of comic. I mean, that's an amazing gift that you have.
I'm the king of dad jokes too.
Yes,
never
you
need
are.
a dad joke.
All right. What are you thankful for today?
I'm thankful that I woke up.
I'm thankful for this lesson today and this podcast of revisiting subtraction, because in doing it, I realized I have a couple things in my life that I need to process. So I'm going to be working on that stuff today.
And I just need to reiterate, I'm glad I woke up 30 plus days ago.
That's right. Because for our listeners that follow, so Logan has Huntington's disease, and one of the byproducts of Huntington's is insomnia. And so unfortunately now you have been awake for over 30 days. Like I don't you should write it down. It would be interesting to see how many days you go.
And the energy that I have is just it's not a manic phase, but I just have a lot of built up energy.
Right. And initially, when it first started happening, you were struggling with it because you were fighting the fact that you couldn't fall asleep. And when you fought it, it made you irritated and pissed off and depressed. Right. And then I coached you and I said, Logan, look, your body right now isn't working the way it was designed. You have a genetic condition and a disease that has this. The way that you got to look at this is you're awake right now, and the universe, God wants you awake. Why? I don't know. So I reframed it for you. And I said, I want you to think, when I cannot sleep, that I am taking care and watching over my friends and family in case something happens in the world that they need to be aware of. Right? That is your job. So you reframed it. Instead of thinking, I can't go to sleep now, you go, okay, I did all my sleep mechanism. I did everything I was supposed to. My body is still saying that I don't want to sleep. And so I get to stay awake and watch over the world and my family. And I'm grateful for that opportunity.
And funny thing is, I'm actually grateful for the Huntington's disease because, I know that sounds weird, but because I have it and there's no cure for it, it teaches me to live every day as if it's my last.
Logan.
Yeah.
You're going to make me cry. Like, you're going to make me cry. Like, hearing you say that. Like,
I've just embraced it.
I want this audience to think about that. Okay. If you're familiar with Huntington's disease and what it is and how it ultimately affects a person.
Or any disease that you're facing, or any illness.
That's what blows me away. As somebody who has designed this equation, for you to get a diagnosis as difficult as that, right? You've known you had post-traumatic epilepsy from being beaten by your parents, right? You've known about the early onset Parkinson's that came from a life of psychotropic and
Pharma.
antidepressants that had all kinds of side effects, which is
Yeah.
why you do not want to stay on them long term.
Right.
They will screw you up.
They really will.
They will screw you up. There's a better way to fix it.
This is
right?
it right here.
This is it. The equation life and abundant happiness.
iplGRATITUde365.
Yep, absolutely. Okay, so that's what I'm so impressed with you is that with this diagnosis, you're handling it with vigor.
Yeah.
And to hear you, like that statement you just said to me, literally
blew you away.
Yes.
Yeah.
When you said, I am grateful that I have Huntington's disease.
I know
I'm
it
like,
sounds weird, but
dude, you get it.
Yeah.
Right? So you're not being punished.
And I'm not a victim. Everything happens for a reason.
That's right. You have Huntington's disease for a reason. We don't know what it is.
I think the reason is to teach me how to live and live every day if it's my last.
Yes.
Because for years I spent my life being so suicidal, ready to end it all.
Right.
Now I appreciate life for what it is, and I have to get out there and just enjoy it.
Okay. So I'm going to ask you one question. In your life, of everything that you've learned to change and right-side yourself, the different modes, what would you say to a person if you said, my life's not working and I need to fix it? What would you tell them?
I would say lean into gratitude. And if you don't know how, there's two gentlemen that can teach you.
I'm one of them. And you're the other.
Yep.
Because we've kind of done this from the beginning. Right? And look at the difference that it's made in my life and your life. And if people knew you and your prior self.
And you.
Likewise.
We came out on the other side. We're survivors.
Happy survivors. Now we're thrivers.
We are.
We're thrivers.
Exactly.
And anybody watching that watches this episode, you can have what we have.
You can be a thriver too.
Yes. And you can have the perfect life. Because that's what I have. I have a perfect life that is abundant. I'm not wealthy. I have what I need and a little bit more. Yep. And that is all you need in life. Is that. And the ability to stay in the present moment where the magic happens in the here and now.
Because the present is a gift. So appreciate that gift.
Life's equation only balances when we release what doesn't belong. Addition brings joy and multiplication expands it. But subtraction clears the slate so that gratitude. Peace. I don't know, I'm emotional. Peace.
That's okay.
All right. I want to thank all you guys for listening to me. Thank you for following my podcast. Thank you for believing and learning.
And like, share, and follow.
If
you want to get in touch with this man, please go to iplGRATITUde365. It'll literally change your life for the better.
Social media, that is the handle. The best place to find everything about what we do and me and the class and the things we do. It's on itspurelove.com. So it's just itspurelove.com. And I know that domain name was left for me by the universe for me. Okay.
Because everything happens for a reason.
And here's something that's interesting, right? That was actually a synchronicity for me. When I started the equation of life and abundant happiness and I started thinking and writing and populating it, it was in the process of that I really discovered how this is my purpose. Okay. Because if you think about domain names, okay, the word IT stands for information technology. And it's one of the most common iterations on the internet if you're a tech company. The word love is one of the most popular used names on the internet. The word love. Okay. So what were the chances that I could get a domain name today of a .com of It's Pure Love? When I put that in and it came up available, and trust me, I probably had 100 others. But when I got that and it said, that was a synchronicity for me. That was a moment where I realized that God was helping me and God was on my side. And the universe was aligning with what I was doing.
It was speaking to you.
It was. And I'm like, okay.
And you answered the call.
I'm like, okay, God, you want me to create itspurelove.com. I'm not quite sure why, but I'm going to do it. Okay. And that's why I use that domain name, itspurelove.com. And the other thing that I'll share, and then we really need to let the show go, is that the word ITS is generic. Okay. Because the framework that I teach, the equation of life and abundant happiness, is a framework that you can lay on top of your existing belief system. And it's going to expand and grow that belief system even bigger. So if you're a Catholic and you learn the equation of life and abundant happiness, you're going to be a bigger Catholic than you were before. If you are Jewish, you will learn the equation of life and abundant happiness and apply that to your Jewish teaching and principles. It doesn't matter. Middle Eastern, it all applies because we're
Yeah.
talking about energy,
Mhm.
emotional energy.
Yes.
And energy follows the laws of physics.
Yeah.
When we apply the laws of the physics to human emotion, it actually works.
Yeah, it does.
And that's what the equation of life and abundant happiness is. So thank you all again for tuning in. I apologize for I got emotional. Don't know why,
No need
but
to
I'm grateful.
apologize.
No,
Never
that's true. Yeah,
apologize
I
for
shouldn't
your
apologize for
emotions.
emotion. You're true. Thanks for reminding me of that.
Yeah.
All right. We're going to be back tomorrow.
Yes.
And then we're closing out this 365 days on Saturday. So, you know, we're going to have some balloons and some stuff, and we're just going to kind of celebrate and talk about the year on Saturday. So tomorrow we're going to be talking about multiplication.
Yep.
Okay. And then on Friday, we're going to talk about division, which is about sharing our expanded goodness.
Drum roll for
Drum
Saturday.
roll. And then Saturday.
Yep. Okay.
Gratitude.
Yep.
I just get emotional because I'm just so happy with how my life works today. And it's just hard, you know, because a year ago, this wasn't my life.
No, nor mine.
No.
Yeah.
And it works.
Absolutely.
And it works like clockwork. Peace out, everybody. I love you. Thanks for following me. And thanks for supporting us. Please like, please share, please comment and follow. And we will be back tomorrow. You can watch us live when we stream in the morning from the park here at Pima Park.
Have a gratitude day.
Have a gratitude spectacular day.